Everybody, grab your black hoodies, put your Guy Fawkes masks on, all hackers of the world unite against the incredible injustice by YouTube. I cannot stand the constant drama and complaints by YouTubers and their audiences. I was hoping to never make such a video, but well, here we are. We just experienced some drama in our InfoSec, hacking, IT security YouTube realms, and people are freaking out. So let me share you my views as one of the bigger hacking channels on YouTube. So YouTube updated their support page regarding harmful or dangerous content, which basically explains what kind of videos are not allowed on the platform. For example, dangerous or threatening pranks, which means pranks that lead victims to fear imminent serious physical danger or that create serious emotional distress in minors. Or instructional theft, showing users how to steal money or tangible goods. Stuff like that sounds reasonable. And now the big controversy. Instructional hacking and phishing, showing users how to bypass secure computer systems or steal user credentials and personal data. This controversy was specifically triggered and amplified by the YouTube channel null-byte because they had 3 of their videos taken down and received a strike. That means their ability to upload videos was taken away. Absolute nightmare for a YouTuber. I totally understand their emotional reaction to that. They work incredibly hard on creating content, and having it so easily taken away is scary. But I also think there is no need to panic. And so please just chill and let's look at this rationally. Let's look at some objective data and the experience we had with YouTube so far. First, we need to clarify something. A lot of the YouTube drama we generally see, not in IT security, just generally, and that is perpetrated by popular YouTubers, are often shrouded in some cloud of confusion and they are not really clear about what exactly is going on. So the biggest issue, in quotation marks, is about the algorithm and the video recommendations, and hand in hand with that, monetization. I don't really care about that. You should not care either, and let me quickly explain why. YouTubers can earn money through AdSense, which automatically places ads for them on their videos. They get a share. That is super nice and chill. In the early days of YouTube, this didn't even exist. So it's quite a luxury nowadays. Many YouTubers now depend on this income. Also, ad revenue is directly affected by your view numbers, so your income under normal circumstances already varies 50% up and down every month, which is crazy to think about. Super stressful to see your income fluctuate constantly. Worst workplace ever. And now on top of that, you have sometimes videos only getting limited or no ads, the yellow icon, or completely demonetized or copyright claimed. Along with that also can come that videos are not recommended as much anymore. I can tell you from my own statistics that most of the views are coming from recommendations, from non-subscribers. So any changes to the algorithm or monetization policies directly impact the YouTuber's income, thus directly impacts stress levels and emotions. But you are still free to run your own ads in your videos. I think we have just been pretty lazy and spoiled with automatic ads via AdSense. But I have also empathy. I understand that it's scary when that falls away. But come on, do some basic business risk analysis. I feel for you, but I disagree that you then mobilize your audience as an army to complain to YouTube about that. In general, I think the ad system is great because it's lazy. Rather than wasting time talking to potential advertising partners, it lets you focus on creating. I find this empowering and great by YouTube. But I think you have zero right to force or demand advertisers to advertise on your video. And just as a reminder, even if there were much stronger monetization policies that block most videos from earning money, YouTube still provides you more services than you get on other platforms like Facebook or Instagram. On other platforms, you don't demand and expect to get money. And don't forget, you are free to host your videos anywhere else, like on Vimeo or on your own website. This is not censorship. Please stop conflating government-enforced censorship with an ad policy of a for-profit company. But ads is one thing. We are also freaking out because losing YouTube would mean losing this amazing algorithm recommending our videos to other people. We would lose the free advertising for our own videos. Remember, this is a feature, not a right. On Facebook, you have to pay that your videos get shared and seen by more people. YouTube gives you free advertisement for videos they think are worth sharing. That's the YouTube recommendation algorithm. And if you have monetization, they even get advertisements for you. You don't have to do shit. I see that as a bonus, a feature that only YouTube gives us. So for me, this is typical psychological case where people don't care for something they don't have, but freak out when a free bonus is taken away, feeling entitled to that what was given for free. Okay, that out of the way, monetization, I don't care. Message to my fellow YouTubers, I don't mean you to stop complaining about algorithm and your demonetized videos. I know it really hurts, and talking about it is good too, but I think it's not fair to mobilize a mob for it. But let's get to what I do care about. I care about awesome educational channels and videos that are taken down from them. Let's explore that scary policy update, instructional hacking and phishing. I would like to start by going back a few months. In October 2018, 3 hacking-related channels were terminated: Stephen Chapman, Guided Hacking, and Cheat the Game. All of these channels were creating technical videos about reverse engineering and hacking games, and they got taken down because of the policy regarding circumvention of technologies complaint, which violates YouTube terms of service. Everybody was panicking, everybody was freaking out. So what happened? Well, all 3 channels are back. You can subscribe to them right now. Did they get it back because of a public outcry? Of course, I don't work at Google, I don't know, but I would say no. That's not how I see this work. What does work is contacting the YouTube creator support team, or in the worst case, Google employees directly. They happen to be watching our videos too. They sometimes are able to escalate or reopen a case internally. So shortly after that, the channels were back. However, I have heard of other hacking related channels. For example, the security podcast Stuckrod, their channel was deleted around the similar time and didn't get it back. And apparently other channels too. Unfortunately, I don't know exactly what kind of videos that were on there. I cannot speak for the type and style, how it was presented, so I cannot judge those cases. But there's the example we see right now. The 3 videos from null-byte were flagged and they got a strike. Well, a couple of hours later, the videos are back up and the strike removed. And again, I don't really think that a public outcry and media attention was necessary. I think what helped was appealing the strike and again Google employees that are in the audience raising the issues internally. And besides those cases, I have only ever heard of monetization issues. But it's very likely that I miss many cases of other deleted videos. It's not like I know all the hacking videos on YouTube. So yes, we had some issues, but don't forget the context. You must look at the cases that never triggered anything. I have over 230 videos uploaded since 2015 about hacking. Gunveil does hacking live streams for a long time now. And when you look through my featured channels, you can discover plenty of YouTubers doing hacking and security videos. Combined with thousands of videos, I don't think they had any issues. Besides maybe monetization, but as I said, I don't care about that. And even null-byte has over 100 videos that were apparently no problem. But of course, it's about a new policy, right? It's a policy change that now triggers the deletion and flagging of all our videos. Well, hold on a minute. As far as I know, these policies are in effect already for a long time. Hack5, probably the oldest running hacking YouTube channel with over 1,500 videos, also seems to agree. Likewise, dealt with any issues on a case-by-case basis. The sky isn't falling and these policies have in effect for as long as we have been publishing on YouTube. The instructional hacking policies has been in effect for years. Let's approach this policy thing with a bit more brain. Hacking is a term that can mean many things. I don't want to discuss meaning and interpretations now, but you know that hacking can be criminal. Every country has slightly different laws on what is legal and what is illegal. I'm not saying that these laws are done with much insight, but for YouTube to follow exactly those laws and interpret them correctly, it is impossible for an international company. So they have to come up with their own sensible policies based on some idea of ethics. Ideally, we want these policies to follow a good ethics argument, an argument we can follow and understand. The frustration with policies comes when they diverge from our own ethics. When you believe something is ethical and somebody else says it's not, then that causes friction. This is where I think the frustration lays. So now we open up this huge bucket of what it means to do hacking videos ethically. And I could ramble about that for hours. I see this to be a very fine and blurry line, very small nuances that make me flip between ethical and unethical. Let me give you some examples how I see this and what I'm thinking when I make videos. For example, I see game hacking and cheating as unethical when done for a competitive multiplayer game, not when doing it alone at home. When you write your own hacks, I think that's cool, have fun. But in the context of sharing it with hundreds, thousands, maybe tens of thousands of people via a YouTube video, I think that can be bad. So I have a sense of responsibility based on the audience size and possible reach. I think a talk given at a security meetup or a hackerspace is different from a video seen by thousands of possibly impressionable young teenagers. And of course, it is even worse when you advertise, sell or distribute those hacks to be used. In the best case, it just ruins the game experience for some players. In the worst case, cheaters cause a decline in the player base, thus losses for the game developer. However, generally developing a cheat or a trainer or mods for a normal single player game, that's awesome. That's creative and fun and harmless. And so if you want to make game hacking videos for the masses, focus on those kind of games. Now, if you put this into a policy and you need non-technical, underpaid support staff to be able to make decisions, it's really hard to see if a game hacking channel like Guided Hacking or Stephen Chapman do it ethically or not. To be able to notice the difference does require quite some experience. So I totally understand that mistakes happen and those channels get nuked. But it then is important, and it worked out, that once the context is explained and you were able to appeal, that everything is reinstantiated. It definitely sucks, but I think in a world with humans that make mistakes, something like this seems reasonable and forgivable to me. Another example is phishing. There's no goddamn reason to make a video tutorial on how to make a Facebook, Google or Instagram phishing page. I think education is totally misdirected there. If you would care about education, you would make it a web development tutorial. Or if aimed at normal users, you would make a video on how to detect a phishing page. But you don't need a step-by-step guide to make a phishing site for Facebook. I think that's somewhat unethical and maybe can be considered inciting illegal behavior. Especially considering this. According to the paper, Data Breaches, Phishing or Malware, Understanding the Risks of Stolen Credentials, millions of accounts get compromised because of phishing. Phishing is a real problem that Google fights with every day. So being Google, why would you want a tutorial outright showing how to do that on your own platform? I know it might sound silly, but most serious hacks you hear about are phishing. The political DNC hacks, phishing. Phishing is lame, but it's criminally serious. And I think as a participant in a human society, you should think about the context and the effects of your tutorials. So I think a video on how to make a Facebook phishing page is unnecessary and educationally misdirected. It's just web development. I believe the correct way to teach this topic is to just show basics of PHP. Teaching PHP might be unethical too. I think YouTube should ban that. I think that would have positive impact for the future. Just kidding. There's of course a way to make ethical PHP tutorials too. You get my point. Any web developer can make a phishing page in the first week of learning web development. And just to make this clear, I don't see deleting a phishing tutorial as censoring important technical information and keeping it a secret. Because a basic web development tutorial teaches the same skill. This knowledge is not hidden. You just put it into an illegal or unethical context. Instead of showing step-by-step tutorial to do phishing, just tell people to learn programming. This is how they actually acquire skill and knowledge. That's at least the motivation for many of my videos. If a person comes to my videos to learn cool hacking, I try to be the person that carefully redirects them to where to actually get the knowledge. And that is, for example, programming, reading specifications, looking at research papers, and so forth. I don't see any value in a Kali Linux step-by-step command instruction tutorial. I also somewhat covered this in my how to learn hacking video. Very similar to that, I see the topic of Wi-Fi hacking. Maybe you didn't know, but one reason for starting my channel was because I was annoyed as hell about the Kali Wi-Fi hacking videos. I think they are so damn boring and they are not really what I think is educational. And I think it's clear that people like to watch and make these videos because you can actually apply and do this in real life. Hacking neighbors' Wi-Fi, for example. But in many countries, this could be already illegal. I personally find step-by-step guides for that stuff unnecessary to spread to masses over YouTube. I made one video about Wi-Fi hacking, and that was about crack. Not how to use specific tool, but we look at the paper and try to understand the underlying issue. Do you see the difference here? Just showing step by step how to use a tool versus looking at the underlying research. I think latter is the educational thing to do. That's why I do it. The former is just a cheap cash grab for attention with something that is much closer to the border of legality and can be interpreted as inciting illegal behavior. That's generally my principle that I use for my channel. I think the educational content is explaining the underlying concept, not the step-by-step copy and paste tutorial on how to use AirCrack. Maybe you disagree with me saying that Wi-Fi hacking tutorial is shit, but if YouTube is actually thinking the same way, that still means you don't need to worry about my videos being taken down, because I don't make videos like that. Another similar example would be Trojans or malware. If you truly care about how that stuff works, you would check out some malware reverse engineering, or you learn programming, or some code golfing and file format tricks, because Trojans are nothing else than just programs, with maybe some creative obfuscation and file tricks. So if you show people how to make Trojans, maybe even worse, just use a tool that generates a rat, then I don't see the value. I mean, you can show such things exist, but you don't need a step-by-step guide on how to use it. And you can hide the name because nobody should care about where to get the tool. It's not useful knowledge to me. For example, there's a big trend of remote admin tools for mobile phones that are primarily used in abusive relationships to control the partner, also called stalkerware. If you show somebody how to install or get such a thing, and YouTubers have even advertised such products before, you suck. Unnecessary, unethical, in many cases illegal and criminal, and causes direct harm to people. And no, a disclaimer at the start, for educational purposes only, is bullshit. If I would want to make a video about it, I would show how to detect stalkerware, the capability so you understand how to deal with it, or how reverse engineering and to analyze them. That would be a good video, I think. Those are just some nuanced cases. It would be great to organize and gather more data on that. If you look closely at the videos and channels that get taken down by YouTube, I'm sure we can reason about what was risky, and we can also talk about how could you have made the video move further away from possibly motivating illegal behavior, more towards actual education. So I believe when YouTube writes a policy like this, they are thinking about it in a similar way. Instructional hacking and phishing, showing users how to bypass secure computer systems or steal user credentials and personal data. I think Google is not dumb, and I would hope they see it somewhat similar like me, which means my videos shouldn't cause issues. I mean, there are humans sitting in offices on a whiteboard trying to come up with sensible rules. I think they try to decide what is an unethical and what is an ethical hacking video. And I also feel like the data we have shows that that's the case, because all our ethical channels never had issues, or if an issue appeared, we were able to resolve it quickly. To me, that's proof that the system works. Anyway, YouTube constantly works on their policies. Hacking is just one small area of concern for them. And hacking is such a difficult topic for an outsider to judge. And to be honest, I'm mostly surprised we don't have more issues. If you are realistic how much the average person knows about it, it's almost a miracle that we can run so smooth. I actually expect something much worse must happen at some point. Some bigger mistakes should happen. Somebody will always misunderstand or misjudge our hacking videos. But I know that we have Google employees in our audience that care about us. And so they have raised internally some concerns in the past and have been part of internal discussions around those policies. I believe the reason why I and many others had no real issues is because of proactive policy discussions internally. If that was you, thanks. And while I kinda hate this drama stirring up on Twitter about it, it did get the attention of even more Google employees. So for example, La Parisa got notice of it. She's a pretty important figure in security at Google, so if she adds an opinion to some kind of internal discussion about this hacking policy, I'm sure it carries weight. So long story short, I don't think you need to panic. Next time a YouTuber complains about something, express your empathy to them. It sucks. but then maybe just give it 1 or 2 days before jumping on the drama bandwagon to see if things get resolved. I think if a couple of our hundreds or thousands of videos here and there have some issues, or some channel as a whole has some problems, I think that's forgivable as long as we can resolve it. What we need is that the escalation process at YouTube works and we are able to talk to humans. But that's my view in July 2019, based on the evidence I have seen so far. Things could always change. So if we would see actual widespread strikes and account terminations, then we can always get our black hoodies and Guy Fawkes masks out to stir up some drama. But let's not paint the devil on the wall yet. Let's wait until the system actually fails us. When the attempts of contacting support and appealing fails, then I will be more than happy to join the march with you. That being said, it would be kind of awkward if I make this video, then my channel is taken down and I would look like a fool. Please don't do this, YouTube. But if it happens, that will be funny as hell. I can see the "didn't age well" memes already. I will make sure to retweet it too. And as a last tip, if you are a YouTuber or just interested in the YouTube behind the scenes world, check out the official Creator Insider YouTube channel. This is where you always get informed about policies, clarifications, experiments, and changes coming to YouTube. They also interview engineers and go over policy examples. Maybe you can ask them to make a video about clarifying the hacking policy. I would love to see Barbara sit down with some engineers, maybe even have somebody from security at Google join them. If they go over a few examples regarding this policy, that would be awesome for us to better understand this. By the way, I have asked a few people to give their opinion on various fictional hacking YouTube videos. If they deem it ethical, unethical, or neutral, it's by no means a good scientific survey, but I just wanted to get a sense about it and see how it aligns or clashes with my views and opinions. I have made a casual talking video about the results. You can find it in the corner description or directly on LiveOverflow too. Now, after running around in your black hoodie all day, put it into the wash and store it in the closet for the next drama.